Welcome to the Advertising Heat Check, where we keep a real-time pulse on what's heating up and what's cooling off in marketing and more specifically in advertising. Get ready for some honest insight from marketers that are actually doing it right now. So each episode, we ask two questions. What's heating up? What's cooling down? I'm Matt Behrend, CEO of Agility. I'm very excited today for us to get insights from Jillian White. She's been in media for 14 years for companies like Subway, Panasonic, Mountain America, Costa Vida. She's worked across all traditional and digital channels for both D2C and B2B companies and handled everything from implementation to optimization, managing DCO operations, a ton of moving parts for multiple internal teams. She's likely one of the top ad ops experts in the world. I'm just going to say it. If there were an ad op Olympics, you'd be competing for gold. No question. So, Jillian, how are you?
I am fabulous. How are you?
Doing well. You know, one of the things that I'm in awe of about you is your genuine passion for helping everybody around you succeed. I know that sounds kind of warm and fuzzy, but I bet it has real performance impact. You know, as you've led teams, what do you feel like drives that in you?
I like to succeed myself. And so I know the feeling of what it means to succeed. And so when I get to watch others do the exact same thing, not even just my team, but also our customers, I really see it's that light in their eye that just, that they won. We talk about gold medals, and that's, I think, the ultimate, success story is getting that gold medal. And so when we see people do that, it's really rewarding.
I love that. So it's innate, I guess. All right, it's time for the heat check. Tell me, Jillian, what is heating up? What is working in your world right now?
So what we've seen work really well, there's two primary areas we've seen some great success. It's inventory optimization as well as DCO. So leveraging our dynamic content optimization tool that allows us to customly serve creative to custom personas and see how they perform. So we think about inventory and how it's performing. We've seen kind of that middle ground of not optimizing to efficiencies for CPMs and not partnering directly with like Disney or any of the more premium partnerships. We've found a middle ground where we're seeing some great performance, ultimately with direct deals that we can serve through, multiple different partnerships. What that allows us to do is we're actually able to target our custom personas. We're able to select the inventory we want to run on, but we also can measure it and understand what's actually working well. We're able to see cost efficiency metrics go down. We've seen those decrease by about 40%. And we're also seeing the CPMs just rise slightly. We know that people do focus on, that CPM game. And so by making these optimizations, we've seen some great performance on the back end. So not relying too heavily on just the partner placements, but where our customers are spending their time. When it comes to the DCO, we've seen some great activations and great learnings for our creative. Understanding what creative a user is going to engage with and what's going to make them take action is really important. And so we've been able to speed up the learnings by leveraging a DCO. We're able to see what imagery is working well. We're able to see more along the lines of what CTAs and, how long it takes someone to convert. And then we're able to adjust that creative very quickly instead of going through the 6-month timeframe that it takes to create a video asset. We're able to do it in just a few weeks. So those are the two things that I think are really kind of heating up in our world and where we're putting a lot of our primary focus.
Interesting. That makes a lot of sense as everybody's world is getting noisier. A lot of advertising just gets lost in that noise. So advertising through premium channels, through a premium inventory makes it so that people care more, I guess. What's the theory behind it?
I think a lot of it is some brand association. When you think about, ESPN, you have a high regard for that channel. And so when you see your ad next to that, it's kind of like a pat on the back, like I am awesome. I'm running next to these more premium partners. And so I think it does a lot from a brand perception, but also someone remembers it. So your core customer is going to remember that they saw that. So then when they go to purchase, it's that quality that they're aligning it to.
That makes sense. Okay. And then the DCO is a layer of personalization. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So personalized messaging plus premium inventory is a formula that's working right now.
Yeah. And something to call out is, as you start to understand the reasons why someone's going to purchase, you can custom tailor that messaging to that person. So it's not to the level of like, I know exactly who you are, Matt Behrend. It says, you have shown these behaviors. And so this is the messaging that I want to, send to you because I think that this product is very appealing to you.
Okay. And that's happening scalably, right? In
Yep.
real time. That's exciting. Jillian, those are great insights. I'm sure a lot of people listening to this are seeing similar things or have thought that they wanted to do those things. So hope maybe that gives them the nudge they need to push into better inventory and using a DCO effectively so they can do some personalization at scale. Let's get into the reality check. What is cooling down? What is going out of style in your world right now?
One of the biggest things is looking at your channels in silos. When you start to think about how Google's performing versus Meta versus your open internet channels, when you look at those in silos, you don't actually understand the user behaviors. And a lot of the time they work together. When you think about your branding impact, that most of search behaviors have shifted and people are going directly to their computers or their mobile devices to search. And so that's why search gets a lot of the credit. But there is going to be some cross-channel support from each of the different channels to get someone to convert. The other thing that I think is kind of on the outs is actually using CPM as an efficiency metric. We still get that question quite a bit. We've still seen quite a few customers asking about, well, what's my CPM? And what we really want to focus on is actually what's that on-site engagement? So we've started to actually look at, what's the time on site? And we built pixels that we can actually optimize to those customers that are spending more time and find more of those users. So actually looking at the cost per site engagement as your more efficiency metric. And so that we've seen some great success with that as well. We're seeing more purchases down the line. We're able to find and capture more users that are more like what you want to convert.
That's exciting. So is it a shift from efficiency to more effectiveness metrics? Thinking about quality. Are people now able to measure more directly on revenue impact or incremental revenue instead of just, CPMs or I mean, people are calling them vanity metrics, right?
Yep. Yeah, we are. And so what we've seen some good correlation between is that kind of effective cost per site visit does lead more towards understanding return on ad spend, more purchases down the line. And that's helped us kind of optimize the campaigns more efficiently and spend the customers' dollars more efficiently, honestly. Because when you operate off of a CPM, what happens is you're just focused on that initial vanity metric of a CPM instead of understanding where's the cost based for cost per site engagement and how is that performing for us.
Well, before we go, Jillian, what is making you happier or smarter lately?
So something that I've been working on to make myself smarter is I bought a journal called Dig Deeper. And so every day you go in and you kind of fill it out and say, okay, here's what I could have done better today, or here's something I'm challenged by. And it's really helped me kind of process and think about, what I can do better as a human, but also what I can do, what I want to do better. So it kind of gives you a different perspective that you're not thinking about on a daily basis.
Dig deeper. That sounds
Yeah.
really cool. So it kind of is it forcing you to ask the hard questions that, okay.
Yeah. It's like
Okay.
looking in the mirror every night.
Looking at it, it's a little bit painful, but super
Uh-huh.
valuable.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
I love it. Jillian, thank you so much for joining the podcast today and sharing all of that wisdom.
Thanks for having me. It was
Of
great.
course. That is today's heat check. If this was useful, please share it with other marketing leaders. The more we share what's actually working better for all of us, the better we all get. Subscribe to the Advertising Heat Check to learn the best of what's working in advertising today from top marketers who are in the arena every day. Have a great day, everybody.